If you can't aim at your target, how can you possibly expect to get the ball to go there? Hi everybody, Darren Falk here at Break 90 Golf. And a thing I hear often on the lesson tee from my students is, I can't aim. Oftentimes they'll think if their ball is going to the right or to the left, it must be because they aimed that way. So today we're going to talk about what actually aim is and what are you aiming, some common issues and struggles that I see with golfers that can't aim correctly, and a 3-step way to make sure that you're aiming correctly every time. So stick around and let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing that we have to understand when it comes to aim is, what are we actually aiming? And oftentimes students will think in terms of, if the ball goes right or left, it must be where they aim there, referring to their body. Okay? Reality is, it doesn't actually matter where my body is aimed. It can have an effect. What really matters and what we really need to be aiming is the club face. So the first issue I see with students is they're too focused on aiming where their body is and oftentimes their feet. And really what matters most is where the club face is aimed, and my shoulders and my arms are going to have a bigger effect than that. For example, so if I'm aiming at that 30 sign here, I'll bring this stick a little closer just so we can see it a little bit better. Watch, my feet could be aimed fine, but what do we notice about where my club face is pointed? Obviously off to the right. And the golf ball's not gonna know where we aimed. The golf ball knows what we told it to do by how the club is delivered into the golf ball. So my club face really needs to be the issue. So I could aim to the right, I could aim to the left with my feet. What really is gonna be mattering, what we need to focus on first, is making sure that we aim the club face. That's what we need to be working on. So what I want my students to do as we step into the golf ball is not worrying about the feet just yet, but actually worrying about the club face first. So as I set up to my golf ball, I'm gonna set my club face first, pointed at my target. And then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and set my body, okay? So the first thing we have to understand is, what we are aiming is the club face and where we want this ball to start, okay? That is where we need to be the starting point. Club face first, body second. The second thing that I see people do incorrectly, right, is the tendency is that they aim their body at their actual target. So if I were to do that, what's that actually going to look like? If I actually aimed my feet at the 30 sign, and I'll see people do this sometimes and go, yep, I'm aimed at the target. Well, if I then set my club face relative to my body, my club face now is often to the right. Or sometimes I'll see students understandably knowing that the club face is pointed at their target, but now their body is actually has them pointed where? Off to the right. And the problem with that is they're now going to tend to have a tendency to want to swing over the top or to the left to get their club to go back to where the target actually is, because they're aimed too far to the right. So the best visual to understand how our body is aligning is to set down another stick here, right along where our feet would be. And I've got the first stick pointed where I want the ball to start. That's my 30 sign, my target. And I'm gonna set another one here off to the side, and I want it to be parallel to this ball and to the stick. Again, what most people do is they tend to get this pointed at their target, and now you can see that the two lines are crisscrossing, okay? So we need to have our feet, hips, knees, and shoulders, okay, our body, parallel to where we want this ball to actually start. So I've got the stick here, and the easiest way to think about this is a set of railroad tracks, okay? My body is gonna be aligned to the inner track, while my club face, okay, is gonna be pointed at the outer track, all right? And that's gonna make sure that I'm setting up, again, relatively square to my target, all right? Third thing that I'll see that players go wrong is they might get everything right? They might set the club face correctly. They might come in here and actually get their feet correctly, but then what they do is when they look at their target, they look at it this way. And notice how I turned my head, my eyes now are level to the ground. And when I'm looking at a target that's 150, 200 yards away from me, that can really distort where I actually feel like my body is. So what we need to be doing is actually looking from my golf ball down this stick here to my target. I need to be tilting my head and my neck right along that line. Okay, that's going to give me a better perspective of where my target actually is, not turning my head this way. Okay, so now that we kind of understand what some issues where people go wrong, we're going to talk about a three-step solution or three-step system that's going to ensure that we get our alignment and our setup correct every time. Okay, now the first thing that we need to do, and the first thing I'd recommend for most of my students, is to pick what we call an intermediate target. So what that is basically a spot. If I took a line from my golf ball to my target, I want to find something along that line. So in this case, there's a little piece of dirt here. You might find a blade of grass, an old divot, right? Something that's closer to you, because it's going to be a lot easier to aim the club face to something 5 feet away than something that's 200 yards away. So for here, I'm actually going to set up, and what I'd recommend to practice is just put a tee down, okay? Just put something actually that's directly in that line, right? Now, what we're going to do then from here, the first thing that we're going to do, remember, what do we have to actually aim? And that is the club face. So standing from behind the golf ball, as I come into the side, I'm going to go ahead and aim the club face at that tee, my intermediate target. And notice how I'm doing this. My body is staying pretty open as well too. Okay, I want to be coming in from the side of the golf ball with the club face first. Now, once that's pointed at my target, then I'm going to set my body parallel to the line from my golf ball to my intermediate target, and my body and stance line would be roughly parallel to that as well too, okay? Now from here, the last piece is to make sure when we're looking at the target, we're just gonna scan our eyes from the golf ball to the tee to the target, okay? Now, when you do this the first few times, you might feel like you're a little bit off, right? It's important to know what happens once I move inside of this golf ball, okay? I'm looking at the ball from this viewpoint, but where am I standing at it? I'm standing from inside the golf ball here. I'm looking at it from a very different vantage point. What often is gonna happen, that target is actually gonna start looking, if I put something a little bit further up, that target's actually gonna start looking like it's a little baby further to the right of what we actually think, okay? So it's important to understand when we set something up with the railroad tracks, or in this scenario, we are setting it up correctly, and we need to adapt our body to feel this is what square actually is, okay? So again, I'm standing back here. I'm gonna set my club face first. Pointed there, okay? Looking at my target, scanning my eyes down the tee. Okay, and then from there, I'm just gonna try to get this ball to start right over that tee. Okay. Didn't hit it great, but it went pretty straight, not my target, right? Thank you everybody for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have not done so already, please be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel. That will help me to continue to put out content for you all. If you would like to work with me, you may do so in person at Holly Ridge Golf Club on Cape Cod, or we can do it online via the Skillest app, and you'll see links to both of those below. As always, if there's anything that you would like to see in future videos that you think you need to help you break 90, please mention it in the comments below. And as always, thanks for joining us, and look forward to helping you continue to break 90. We'll see you again next time. Do you feel like you have no plan to your practice sessions? Do you find yourself playing on the golf course but not really sure what parts of your game actually matters? Well, I've got you covered. Take a look in the description below and you will find my Breakthrough Golf Playbook. This playbook that I designed is a 12-week practice program. It also has stats that you need to keep track of, and also benchmarks for breaking 100, breaking 90, and breaking 80. Most often stats are geared towards the tour player, but now we know exactly what you need to do to get your breakthrough and to break your scoring goals. So be sure to check out the link below. It is completely free, designed to help you to play your best golf.